Thank you, Your Holiness. The next question is from Indonesia.
Good morning, Highness. My name is Stephanie Surya from Indonesia. I'm 35 years old.
Indonesia, huh? Yes.
Currently, I'm working at an e-commerce company. My question is, if we cannot find happiness externally, we will try to explore it internally. With this current challenging situation, we have more opportunity to look internally. How can we make it as our new default, as our new normal? Thank you.
가사되기.
지론에 제 다시 라야 답시 매디 나올 때 들어갔어.
Right. Now, as already I indicated, the existing modern education, not much talk about our mind, about our inner peace. People sometimes feel when we talk about inner value, then depend on religion. As I mentioned earlier, you see, inner value without touching religious faith, that we can do. So now modern education, purely education, nothing to do with religion. But education should include education about material thing or science and technology, and meantime education about our emotion, about our mind. That's lacking now, today's existing education. Education, you see, should include knowledge about material thing, including our physical thing, and should include our mind, our emotion. Then with that, like our physical, facing some illness, you see, we take the method to cure that according to illness. Similarly, mental problem, when develop, so is how to tackle our mental problem. As a part of education, that I think modern education, I feel lacking that. So I think from West, modern education started. Then at that time, about emotion, inner value is concerned, they totally rely on religion, church, religion. Now religion, including Buddhism, you see, people not necessarily, you see, faithful. So therefore, without touching religion, we should analyze, we should develop education about our mind, about our emotion. Okay. And we Asia, say the tradition, some meditation there. So like most of the Asian country, you see some knowledge about meditation, analytical meditation, and single-pointed meditation. For that, you see, you spend a few moments, you see, don't think about seeing or hearing these things. Just simply try to some kind of meditate on pure mind. You know, usually we simply, you see, following sensorial consciousness. Now sensorial consciousness neutralize. You just think. some kind of thoughtlessness. Then gradually you gain some experience about mind, clear. Then with that, the deeper level of, or say there's a power to analyze things. That, then analytical meditation. So firstly, single-pointed mind, some kind of thoughtlessness. That sort of immense help to increase our mental strength. Then analyze. So the modern education, just material, so sensorial, 5 sensorial sort of consciousness, dealing with that, not 6th mind. Okay. So please, young people, now think more. And now here, quantum physics also is not, how should they accept what appearances. Then think sort of deeper way. So quantum physicists, according to that, you see, they say there is differences, appearances, and the deeper reality. So senses of organs, mainly you see appearances. The 6th mind go deeper level, the more detailed, deeper reality. So my Indian friend told me, expressed to me, quantum physics in the West, something new. In this country, in East, quantum physics over 1,000 years already developed. That's very true. So most of the emotion come on appearances. So you go deeper level, the reality. The appearances is something good, something bad. That is the basis of our emotion. So you go deeper level, then you see everything, a particle. Now, for example, the material thing, everything particle, nothing sort of solid. Then the very basis of anger, very basis of attachment, no longer there. One Buddhist concept, shunyata. We use Sanskrit word shunyata, emptiness. Also, you see, things does not exist as appears. At the deeper level, you see nothing as appears. So this, if you have some interest and then think, study about quantum physics, I think very useful. Modern psychologists and quantum physics combined, useful. Okay. Thank you.
Singapore, a young lady working in an interfaith organization.
Oh, yes.
Good morning, Your Holiness. My name is Nazat Fahima. I'm a working adult and I also volunteer with the Hashpeace movement. My question is, despite the various efforts to promote religious harmony, religious extremism and exclusivism continues to grow in many parts of the world. How can young people like us do something to help with this issue? Thank you.
출루 튼지기 돌아간 전 랭귀 가져 빼나야
계셔지다.
출루 튼지기 랭귀 가져 빼게 망부 여러분 대 빼나야 다도 그 따와 착부 심진의 extremism 다 디조베티 시오지 게도도 스타디 답시 가려 그랬어.
As I already mentioned, the existing children from their young age, see, they are not sort of no opportunity to study about basic mind and pure these things. So now, as I mentioned, existing education system very much sort of oriented about material value, and then there, you see, they very much lacking deeper understanding about basic mind or nature of mind or nature of human being. So now religion and superficial, then sometimes the faith also become disposal of also the basis of we and they, lacking thinking oneness, same human being, but too much emphasis on secondary level of differences, different race, different color, different country, different religion, and within religion, Buddhist, you say, the Pali tradition, Sanskrit tradition, and sometimes Tantric tradition. In Tibet case, you see yellow-head sect, red-head sect, black-head sect. You see, sometimes you see we found too much sort of division, and then your sort of feeling of I have the places, my religion, my community. So these are narrow-minded, narrow thinking. So Muslim, Shia and Sunni, as I briefly mentioned, you see, Shia, Sunni, and then within that, different country, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and these different Muslim country. And unfortunately, in ancient time also, religion very much used by king or queen. So Muhammad also used to carry one sword. So now modern time, or ancient time, you see political power and religious faith sometimes go together. So feudal system, you see, utilize religious faith. Now that gone. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we must, you see, emphasis oneness of humanity. That this religion is personal matter, secondary thing. So you should think that way. And in Muslim, I have, you see, many good friends, Muslim, in Lhasa, some Muslim, Ladakhi Muslim, very peaceful, no record of quarrel. And you see Tibetan, particularly Tibetan monk, fond visit Mongolian, Islam, or Muslim sort of shops, and they also talk very nice, very peaceful, like that. So record those Muslim in Lhasa very, very peaceful. So that's basic nature. And then also, I have some experience, some Muslim, in Ladakhi Muslim, very peaceful, wonderful. I really found the Muslim food. Some sort of Ladakhi delegation, you see, came to see me and invite me. Then sometimes I told them, I must come, I will come. And then including the Muslim lunch should be there. So very nice. You see, depend your own attitude, Muslim, Hindu, Christian, or Sikhism, all. You see, the individual matter, individual sort of practice, actually we are same human brothers, sisters, and we have to live side by side. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Holiness.
So
The next question.
now I think the personal level contact very important. Like Ladakhi Muslim, you see, they always, you see, quite acquaint the Buddhist community or some Christian community. So then those Muslim country like Syria and these, little bit isolate. Not sort of also the opportunity to meeting with different follower of different religion. That makes sort of differences. So, also the international level, I think more contact. So I, since I have some friend in Ladakh Muslim, so I suggested to them, you should organize one international Muslim conference in Delhi, because of the national level. So I also made some donation. So they organized that. And some Iranian religious people also used to come. So now I'm thinking that kind of meeting annually, firstly, international level Muslim, then other follower, join together. So we need regular effort. It's some kind of religious, because of international religious sort of conference. That's important. Okay.
Thank you, Your Holiness. The next question will be from Indonesia.
Good morning, His Holiness. My name is Danish. I'm from Indonesia. I'm 26 and I'm a doctor. So my question is, can His Holiness explain to us the difference between loving oneself and being selfish? Thank you.
Now, if you think wider way, then everybody, you see, loves oneself and some kind of selfish, always there. If you really want your individual, happy individual, and since we are social animal, one individual's life or successful life entirely depend on the community. So the best way to take care of oneself is to take the very basis of our life. Okay. If you just think oneself, selfish way, narrow-minded, then you can't survive. The survival, or including particularly happy life, entirely depend on others. So we should take care of others. Others is very basis of our individual any happiness or successful life. So therefore, now when we take care, now farmer take care about farmland, because their life depend on farm, so take care, not some kind of compassion, but because you see, farmland is the farmers sort of the sources of their life, like that. Okay. What do you think? Do you have some argument? You know, Tibetan sort of tradition, study, we, as the subject of logic subject, we always, you see, debate. So I also, you see, from childhood, you see, get used debate. If others say something, then you should argue. Like that. Okay. Next.
Thank you, Your Holiness. We have now a working youth from Singapore.
Yes.
Good morning, Your Holiness. I'm Leonard. I'm 23 from Singapore. I'm a student and a volunteer with HPs. My question to Your Holiness is, what is the benefit of learning Buddhism if we are not Buddhist? Thank you.
As I mentioned earlier, about the psychology, about the logic. The logic is very helpful to analyze things. In order to know the deeper level, analyzation, analytical meditation, very important. So these now, in over, I think, 1,000 years, the Nalanda tradition, you see, actually very, very academic sort of institution. So therefore, in Buddhist tradition, according to Nalanda tradition, we extensively use logical approach. At the meantime, psychology. Now these things, I think, are Muslim brothers or Christian brothers, sisters, they say, I think worthwhile to learn. Faith is your own personal matter. So you can keep your own personal faith. But intellectual level, you see, these Buddhists, although ancient time, many Hindus, great scholars, a lot of debate between Buddhist scholars, Hindu scholars. But then gradually, Buddhist Nalanda, now here in India, the Buddhism also, you see, almost disappeared. Nalanda now ruined, nothing. So we kept. And then China also is a follower of Nalanda tradition. So the differences, the Chinese case, you see, not much sort of emphasis, study. Whereas with Tibetan and Mongolian, over 1,000 years, we very much emphasis study and use logic. So you can learn these, also a certain sort of method which increase our sharpness of our mind, and philosophy, all phenomena, not just using God's creation, but more detailed, like that. So, beside your own faith, or atheist, no faith, but you can study with a logical approach and philosophical things. Like that. Okay. Yes. Now, next.
Your Holiness, the next question is from Malaysia, the youngest students in now, one of the youngest students.
Malaysia. No. Okay.
Good morning, His Holiness. My name is Gigi. I'm from Malaysia. I'm 19 years old and currently a university student. My question is, technology and society are changing faster and we are forced to move forward quickly. What do young people need to learn today for better tomorrow? Thank you.
As we already discussed, you see, we have this emotion, this mind. So this emotion and mind are not produced by mission, but by nature. Our brain, you see, develop different emotions, different intelligence, all these things. So therefore, now, as I already mentioned, our education should include education about our inner world. External world, yes, quite detailed now. The sort of scientifically, you see, the explanation. Now, about our mind, you see, we usually, you see, not much sort of pay attention, and in education field, not include. So as I already mentioned, now, education should include about our inner world, about our mind. Now, some of my friend, the brain specialist, you see, they even, you see, I think in the past till late 20th century, they no idea about mind, only brain. Now, later part of 20th century, now begin to feel beside brain, there is something which actually affect our brain. Now some special specialist about brain. Now like Richard Davidson, very great scholar about brain. So now they last, you see, in the later part of 20th century and beginning of 21st century, you see now those scientists, brain specialists, you see, they already, you see, some experiment. You see, people who, you see, have some deeper experience about meditation, then while they meditate, what kind of change in their brain? Now they, some of them, already accepted beside brain, there is something which affects our brain. That we call mind. So now, in science and field of science, now people more and more pay attention about mind. So when we talk about mind, that subject quite big. And some knowledge about mind is really transform the person. Okay. Animal cannot. Only human brain. Okay.
Good morning, His Holiness. I'm Avita. I represent Malaysia. I'm a doctor and a teacher and a seeker. So my question for you today is, what should be the true intention to achieve enlightenment? Does it change with era and the time?
Garsa.
Thank you.
전주 고방 상계 고방도 토비야라 제 군론도 그 컨텐츠 코리스 대지 뒤에 뒤에 야지 제부 대배 여러 베스트 군론디.
Now, firstly, as I already mentioned, you see, we must utilize the sixth mind's ability. So for that, what to call meditation or thoughtlessness, that help to increase ability of our mind, sixth mind. Then the clear and very powerful, you see, that sixth mind now focusing certain object to analyze. So from the Buddhist viewpoint, all destructive emotion, such as anger, fear, attachment, all these based on ignorance. As I mentioned earlier, about quantum physics on the basis of appearances. So the sixth mind, use sixth mind, the deeper level of reality. Then the very basis of emotion no longer active. Okay. So now first, some sort of, I think including in school or college, I think students should spend a few minutes meditation, some kind of thoughtlessness. Usually it's thoughtlessness, sensorial sort of consciousness. Then sensorial consciousness is stop. Then sixth mind become more active. Then the sixth mind, the ability, sixth mind increasing. Then that use the analytical meditation, analyze. We call shamatha is stand still, single-pointed meditation. Then vipassana, analytical meditation. So, analytical meditation, very, very helpful. I also my daily practice is analytical meditation. As quantum physicists say, what's the reality? Then all those emotions, you see, which based on ignorance, no longer sort of foundation. All the positive emotion are not based on ignorance, rather based on reason. So that further develop. Those emotions based on ignorance no further sort of develop. Because ignorance is no basis to analyze, then ignorance because of the become thinner like that. So one also the encouraging thing is all destructive emotion based on ignorance. As the quantum physics say, based on appearances. Then positive emotions such as compassion and wisdom, not based on appearances, but analyze deeper level. So think more and more, also the strength come increasing. So that much I can, through my own little experience, I can tell you like that. Now, as a Buddhist monk, and particularly Nalanda tradition, follower of Nalanda tradition, and particularly Nagarjuna. Nagarjuna, you may have heard? Nagarjuna, or in Chinese, usually say Longsu Pusa. Longsu Pusa. Great scholar, great practitioner. Traditionally, we all follow of Longsu Pusa, Nagarjuna. It's his theory. Madhyamika Mulakarika, one text. Every day I read some portion and think. Very, very helpful. Very helpful. All destructive emotion, you see, based on ignorance. The ignorance, say, the antidote of ignorance is understanding deeper level, the reality. So very helpful, very useful. Next.
Your Holiness, the next question is from Vietnam, a student.
Yes.
Good morning, His Holiness. My name is Rose from Vietnam. I'm 21 years old and I am an interior design student. My question is, how can someone who is still studying be practicing Dharma at the same time? Thank you.
I start my practice age 7, 8 years old. I already started practice. So meantime, I study. So 7, 8 years, since 7, 8 years old, I start study. Our Nalanda tradition study, the root text, memorize. Then each word, according commentary, explaining. Then use debate, logical approach. So when we carry debate, we are expecting some mistake from other side. Then you feel very happy to argue. If answer from the other side, everything right, then no opportunity to debate. So according to my own experience, you see, study and practice certainly can go together. Now, 85, 86-year-old me, still study. I study. Whenever I have some opportunity, read some books which I already sort of study, or some new books, study. So there is the wisdom. You see, one level, hearing. One level, thinking. That more powerful. The knowledge just from hearing or reading is just a knowledge. Then on that, that subject, further investigate by yourself. Then second level of knowledge, understanding. That quite firm. The first level of knowledge, if some other person say something different, then you may feel, then you get doubt. When you reach the second level, you yourself analyze, then deeper understanding, then some other person say something different, then you feel, I already analyzed thoroughly. So that knowledge, you see, entirely based on reason. So that knowledge is the basis of experience. Then further familiarize that knowledge, then gradually gain experience. Now, for me, like the the philosophical view about nothing independently exists. That now over 50 years, I think. So that really transformed my mind. And then altruism, a few decades thinking, really transformed my mind. Meantime, study. Okay. Recently, I was one occasion I visit Japan, and then in monastery, in temple, Japan, one sort of meeting, and I told them, I told that gathering, I hope this temple should use for debate, for discussion, not just meditation. I mentioned. So study, very, very important. Here I may share with you one sort of, private sort of conversation. I have a lot of sort of friends, Japanese Buddhist monk, Buddhist scholar. So one Buddhist abbot also is a good scholar. We often discuss. See, and then one day he told me, we Japanese Buddhists always recite Hangja Shingju, the Paramita Sutra. Heart Paramita Sutra. But then he quite sort of, because of humble, he mentioned every Japanese Buddhist recite that, but without knowing the meaning. He appreciates, my a little explanation about these things. He expressed to me, he very much appreciates. So study, very important. Particularly Nalanda tradition is maximum utilize our intelligence. Think. Not just faith. Okay.
Thank you, Holiness.
So,
we have last three questions.
So you should think, me, old person, as I mentioned earlier, still study. So these young people must pay more attention, study.
Thank you, Your Holiness, very
Thank
much
you.
for the enriching dialogue. I believe all the youth have benefited greatly from your views and advice. And on behalf of the organizing team, we thank you again. And we would like to request for another youth dialogue in the near future if your schedule allows. Thank you again, Your Holiness, and wish you stay healthy and well.
Yes? Okay. Actually, as a Buddhist practitioner, I dedicated my body, speech, mind, well-being for other. So I already sort of ready. And now, particularly now, with modern technology, I comfortably remain here and talk, share with more. So I always ready talk, share some of my experience. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Dear participants, you may now unmute your mic to greet and thank you, Your Holiness, as he's leaving.
Thank you. Karsa.
Thank you.
Ka. Thank you. See you again. Okay, see you again.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.